Oops. And then we want to play it again. Let's see how it sounds this time. Not very tuneful, that, was it? Now, so far, we've only seen computers with software packages. We haven't seen any keyboards. If we want to see something more advanced, something that professionals might use, and that we can also use at home, have a look at this.
No hands.
You're cheating.
Not
Actually,
really.
Ingram from the group Imagination, welcome to the Software Show. Can you explain a little bit about this system? This is the first time we've actually seen a keyboard being used with the computer.
Well, basically, if you look at it like a computer is basically a recorder where you can play anything here, and it records the moment in time, the actual notes which you play, and it converts it into data, numbers, in exactly the same way as you played it. If you played that, it'll grab that.
Just like a tape recorder?
Just like a tape recorder.
OK, can you show us how we do something then?
Like, for example, if I was going to play down some drums, for example, I use a little box like this. Inside here, we have lots of little sounds that have their own channel numbers. So if I tell the computer to play me something from channel 10, I'll go to channel 10 here.
Sounds like satellite television.
On channel 10 we have tonight
right.
the drums. And so therefore, if I wanted to play some drums now into the computer, I'll hit that, and here comes drums. And you can play in that for as much as you want. Little roll there. Technical
So the computer will have saved all that?
That's now in the computer. It's
Right.
in its MIDI buffer, which means that it sits there in the computer waiting for me to give it any one of the 60 channels inside here.
Are they like tracks that you would have in a recording studio? Because we
Exactly
hear
the
of
same.
8-track studios and 24 tracks, don't we? And all of that.
Exactly the same way. So you find your track, like for example track 20, I'm going to stick it down on, and I press keep. It's there now. I switch the track on, hit play, and what can happen? And there's your drums. Now, if I play that a little bit slow or a little bit too fast, basically out of time like most of the time, what I can do is go into a page here and call down something called quantize. And basically what that does is it looks at, if I start here and finish here, it looks at all those notes I played in the middle there and says, that was wrong. That was wrong, and it will move it forward or back to where it should be, or to where the computer thinks it should be. I do that like that, press on a correction, and lo and behold, it should sound even... It should sound much better. No, actually, it helps you compose an idea in your head. For example, you can hear the whole band, you can hear the bass, a bit of drums, and you put all the ideas together on a computer. And once you've done that, you can play it to the guy and say, hey, this is the kind of idea I had. And the drummer can say, well, okay, then I can take from this and take it further.
So how much would this sort of system cost, Ashley?
Well, for example, the Casio keyboard here, you can buy this for under £200, which is, I think, is very competitive.
But of course you could pay more if you want to.
Well, we can always talk about that. Yes, you can pay up to thousands for a keyboard.
Right.
But it all depends on what you want and where you want to go with it.
And what about the software?
Well, the software, this particular software is about between £500 and £600 you can pay for this kind of software. It comes complete with synchronizing methods and things that you can use in your professional studio.
But that's obviously could be too expensive for a home user.
Absolutely, but with each purchase of a computer, like this 1040 here, for example, there are companies who are giving away software packages with it. So therefore, you get your computer and your sequencer package all together for a very realistic price.
Well, Ashley, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Could you play us out?
Certainly.
How was it?
How's the rest? Turn, turn, kick, and push. they can switch straight across the keyboards and hear some music.
Ashley Ingram, thank you very much indeed. Alistair and John have been beavering away now on the graphics and the music sequence for our titles. Alistair, you first of all, how are you getting on with the music?
Oh, fine, thanks. Nearly finished. Do you want to listen?
Yes, please, let's have a listen. Now, how is this music different to the music we heard at the beginning of the programme?
What I tried to do is synchronise it with John's graphics. The beginning scale you hear corresponds to the rising keyboard, which John did.
Which slides up in, yes.
Also, I tried to change the instruments to the different fonts, like the modern font represents a modern instrument.
So when you say the fonts, that says the software show, which changed through the graphics.
What I'd like to do is change the old English font to a harpsichord, for example, because I don't think the harmonia which I've used is old enough.
I see. That sounds lovely. Have you got a lot more to do on it?
Oh yes, just a bit.
Right. Well, we'll see you later on this evening. John, how about you? How are you getting on?
Well, I'm working on the background at the moment, which is sort of pulsing circuits, because my first animation had a black background, so of course you looked at it. And I've also taken this from a proper circuit board, so it's quite accurate for it.
So what else have you got to work on?
Well, I've got to get the keyboard smoother, of course, and I'm going to make it a bit more 3D. And also the text flying in. I've got to do that yet.
You're going to be a busy chap, aren't you? All right,
Well,
well, all the best with it.
Thanks a lot.
Now, from one form of graphics to another. I promised you earlier that I'd show you how I printed out this software show T-shirt. And to help me is Jonathan Inglis, who designed this particular logo. Now, Jonathan, first of all, how easy is it to create original designs on a computer?
Well, I think the most important thing to remember at first, certainly when you're starting, is not to be too ambitious. Often the best designs are really the simplest. The other thing that you need to remember too is that drawing with a mouse isn't quite as easy as drawing with a pencil, and therefore you need to adapt your style to what the computer does best. I think the biggest mistake that people make when they first start is they try for a very realistic effect, trying to imitate the look of an oil painting or a photograph, which is very hard work indeed.
Sure it is. Could you give us a little demonstration of how you would go about creating a logo?
Well, if we look at this figure here, I've drawn that. I haven't done any freehand drawing at all, because that's very fiddly. Instead, I've used the straight line, the curve, and the circle options to build up my figure quite simply. For more detailed work, what I do is I go in like this, and I can edit my picture pixel by pixel, like this. So that if I want to, for instance, give our little figure a moustache, it's as simple as that. And then I can go back to my main drawing.
Now, you're using the Deluxe Paint 2 program, which
That's
we're
right.
actually using for the graphics for the program. Now, this allows you to repeat a pattern, doesn't it?
That's right. So one of the great beauties of the computer as a design aid is that once we've got an image, we can simply repeat that really quite simply. All we have to do is to window it, which means we take an area of the screen and we simply take that and copy it across like this.
So by using this repeat facility, you've arrived with the design of 3 men going across the screen.
That's right, and I don't know if you can imagine using conventional materials to do all that copying. It would take ages, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to introduce a little bit of colour by filling in our shapes like this.
It's
and
very
again,
fast, isn't it?
That's right. If you imagine doing this using conventional materials, you'd be taking a lot of time. And of course, the great beauty of the computer is if we don't like what we've done, then we simply undo it like this, which is
easier
terrific.
than using Tipex, that's for sure. Okay, so you've now arrived at a design, and you did promise me that you'd personalise it for me by putting my name across. How do you go about doing that?
That's right, Carl. Well, most computer programs allow you to add text anywhere you like on a picture, and this is no exception. All we have to do is to load in the correct font and then type your name in.
Now we've arrived at that, that's fantastic. But obviously we want to print out onto a T-shirt, so we need a reverse image. How can you do that using the computer?
Well, you'll find that all computer programs offer you the chance to flip your images, that's to turn them round. You can either flip part of the screen or the whole screen. Now, for our design, obviously, we want to flip the whole screen. So we'll do that now.
So you've arrived at the flipped image, and now what do we do?
Well, what we need to do now is to print out our image on the printer over here.
So, as if by magic, it's finished printing. I'll just feed the paper through. And what we need now is a photocopy of the design. And if you can photocopy that. Meanwhile, I shall show you how you can actually print it out on your T-shirt. If you don't have a computer, by the way, you can do this. If you want to take a photocopy of a reverse image of anything that you want to print out onto a piece of cloth, what you should do is take the design to a photocopying shop and have a reverse image done for you there. Right, now then, what you need is your T-shirt, and you need to mix 1 part of white spirit to 2 parts of water. Stick in a dash of washing up liquid. Give it a good shake so that you get a nice emulsion. And that's the photocopy.
There we are.
Now then, this is the photocopy of the logo with my name on it. And you paint on quite a lot of this mixture onto the front, like so. Want to get it quite wet, and then turn it over and do exactly the same on the back. Now, I might warn you that not all photocopying machines produce the right sort of photocopier because they use different types of inks and toners, so you might have to play around with different machines. All right, now then, you've stuck in a baking tray, which is quite warm, isn't it?
That's right.
And that helps. Put a baking tray underneath. The warmth will help the image transfer onto the cloth. Now then, this is the clever bit. You position it quite carefully. Take a wallpaper roller and roll it out. Now, what else could you do with this other than print onto T-shirts, Jonathan?
Well, there's no reason why you shouldn't use this technique for printing on any kind of fabric. Any design which requires a repeated design, you could use this, or you could use it to personalise things like pillow slips, that sort of thing.
Now you've finished rolling. You have to press quite hard on this. And now for the moment of truth. Let's peel it back. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. Wonderful. Brilliant. Take the baking tray out. And there you are. Software Show T-shirt with my name on it. Now, Jonathan, how would we make this slightly more colourful than just black and white?
Well, there are all sorts of colour-fast dyes that you can buy which you can either paint on or draw on to put extra colour. And then if you want to fix your design to stop it running, then you can use one of these fixatives here.
Right, now back to our titles. Let's have a look at how much work has gone into changing our first effort into the finished product. Here are the two, one after the other. There's quite a difference between what we've just heard, which was this morning's effort, and the final version. Can you tell me a little about the computer system that you've been using?
Okay, it's called a hybrid synthesizer. And what that is you get a box like this, which generates music using the computer. And you use the keyboard, which you can get extra, to actually input the noise, input the music, whatever. You
said that there is quite a difference. What would you say the main difference is?
Probably the instruments. While the different fonts were appearing on the screen, I wanted to change the instruments that were being played. If I just show how I do that, if I go to the keyboard option for the main menu, that takes me here. Now I can select the instruments by using the computer.
Good grief. Enough of them, aren't there?
Yes, these are ones that are in the memory already.
All right.
So if I go to this harmonia, which I was doing for the Old English fonts.
Yes.
Right.
There are all sorts of names here. Magic wand, iron pipe,
yeah.
ring sin. I don't think what that is. Okay, you've gone to harmonia.
Right, and that sounds like this.
Right.
Now in the final version, I changed that to a harpsichord, which is... Okay, just gives it extra flavour.
A big difference, certainly. So now you've changed that, how would that figure in the final piece then?
Well, the great advantage of the hybrid system is all its interconnections are all integrated. So I could go back to the mixing desk, which we had on earlier, and you can see the changes I've made. So now all the channels you've got are set up for the harpsichord.
But you can change, you've got 8 channels here, or 8
That's
different
right.
voices. You can change each one individually.
Yes, if I changed one of these now to, let's say, a Wurlitzer, which I'd use later on. Okay, that sounds like
I
this.
see. Now there's also a way of playing on the keyboard, and that's directly input into the computer, so the computer remembers what you've done here, really,
that's
isn't
right.
it? Because on other systems I know that you have to type each note onto a screen in turn.
It's a great advantage of a keyboard like that.
Have you enjoyed doing this?
Oh, it's been great fun, yes.
Excellent. Lovely, thank you very much for now. Now, John, you put the graphics together. You used 4 different
That's right,
programs.
yeah,
Can
yeah.
you tell me about them?
Well, Deluxe Paint is the main workhorse program. They all use it to input graphics. And one of the functions I've used off of this is the cycling for the sort of pulsing electronics. So if you have a look at this, see I can set a range of colours which I actually want to cycle through, and also the speed at which I cycle them.
I see.
Then I can just go onto the screen and draw these, cycling, and also move them.
Wow. You make it look very easy. Is it easy?
This is easy, yeah. It's the actual sort of drawing, you know, to begin with, inputting the circuits and things like that, which is difficult.
So tell me about one of the other packages.
One of the other packages that I've used is Videoscape 3D, and that's what I've used to actually fly the text in. That package I'll have to swap the disc to.
All right.
To actually put that up. So
Okay.
I'll do that now.
So you have to come out of this, put a different disc
That's
in.
right, that's right. It's a separate package.
Now, if you're using 4 different programs, does that mean it's expensive?
No, because the packages range from £70 to about 115. That's the most expensive. And you don't have to use all of them. I've just been greedy. I've used all of them and all the best effects. But you could just say use this package, and then you've got a very sort of simple, nice effect, which you could use.
So how do you get the text to fly in?
Well, from this package you can set, for instance like this, you can actually set the speed. And then by hitting a button, you then go to the first frame, and you hit another button just to start it.
Fantastic.
And there it goes.
Now, you've used 4 different programs and obviously 4 different discs. How do you get all of that onto one video recording?
That's right, it sounds complicated, but it's very easy. Basically, you first record down your background. You then take that out and you put it into another VHS machine, and you play that through a device called a Genlock.
So you need an extra piece of equipment which is called
That's right,
a Genlock.
which is called a Genlock.
Because usually, I mean, if I'm using my video recorder at home and I've taped one program, then I tape another one, it erases completely
That's right.
what was on before.
That's right. That's what's so good about this device. It actually overlays the graphics onto your existing material. Now this is Deluxe Paint with its cycling, which we showed earlier. So I've put that down onto tape now, and now I'm playing it back through for the next sequence. Now this is my second pass through, with the icons flipping from movie setter.
And you've played this on top of the background.
That's right. Now again, the tape has been taken out, put into your second machine, and played through, and the keyboard's been smoothly scrolled up with TV show.
And I suppose the final thing will be the final graphics.
That's right.
And that's all for this week. We hope you enjoyed the programme. Now, next week, I'll be looking at desktop publishing. So until then, goodbye.
Full information about all the software packages used in the programme is contained in the special Software Show magazine, available from BSS, PO Box 7, London W3 6XJ. The price is £1.30, and cheques or postal orders should be made payable, please, to BSS. In 20 minutes, Zigzag visits Jorvik, the biggest Viking settlement in the world. This is BBC2. Now, a spot of jazz with Fingermouse.